Coaches, what's up, guys? Appreciate everybody making it. I'm going to give it about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to start just letting people in as they come in. I'm not sure, pretty sure the way that I have this set up is that everybody's going to be muted. And then towards the end, I'm going to open it up to everybody. So this way we can just ask questions and feel free to interact. I'm going to have a presentation up. So if you have any questions or anything like that along the way, just raise your hand. I'm going to try to monitor everything. This is my first time doing it. So I'm just going to be figuring stuff out as we go along. Let me see if I can start unmuting people. So I see Joe's in here. Joe, what's up, man? Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, JB. My name is Joe Rodriguez. I'm from Texas. I coach high school varsity boys at Valley View High School in Far. That's near the border of Mexico.
Appreciate it. Sarge, what's up, my guy?
Oh, man.
How's everything?
How are you? Good, good.
I'm doing well. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
So I'm Sarge Sears. I'm the head basketball coach at Ocoee High School in Orlando, Florida.
Sarge is one of my hoop group guys. He definitely a good man to learn from. Who else we got? Ian. Ian, go ahead and introduce yourself, my man.
What's going on, fellas? Ian Gibson. I'm a director of ops from the University of North Florida men's basketball team. So I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. It's great having you here, man. You work for a great man.
No doubt. No doubt. He's the best.
For sure. My man Kelvin Brim's in the building as well. Brim, I'm not sure if you're unmuted or not, but go ahead and introduce yourself, my guy.
Can you hear me, JB?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, guys. My name is Kelvin Brim. I am the head women's varsity coach at Philbrook Berry in Charlotte, North Carolina. Used to work out with JB and great coworker to have, great workout partner. Man, I learned a lot of stuff from this guy in just a year. So excited that I had the opportunity to listen to him teach me some things.
Yeah, Brim's a different level athlete. I have a rule. I don't play with people that are bad at basketball, and I don't play with people who are former football players, because those are the people that hurt you. And Brim was one of those former football players. Dislocated my finger last year, but that's all right. Who else we got? We got John DeHoya. What's up, bro?
What's up, dude? My bad. I'm with my kid. So
No, you're good. Just wanted you to introduce yourself real quick.
What's up, guys? I'm John DeHuya. Currently, I'm a director of strength and conditioning at Norfolk State University. I recently got there in January, and I didn't realize it, but I knew Justin. I met Justin a couple times in high school. I didn't realize until a couple years ago, and he actually coached one of my basketball players when I was at North Carolina A&T. One of his high school players when they were freshmen. So it's kind of dope how that connection works out.
Yeah. So John, Kelvin Brim, the one that just introduced himself, he's also at that high school.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Got a small family around here, stretched all across the U.S. I mean, we got Florida, Texas. Trey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Jess? How you been, man?
I'm doing well. Where are you at now, Trey?
So now I'm at Anne Arundel Community College out in Annapolis, Maryland.
There you go.
I'm one of the athletic coordinators there. Pretty much right now going through the strength conditioning training program and certification, since we don't have one. So we're trying to multitask. So I do a lot of player development stuff for our basketball team. Mostly our men's team. Our women's teams, all those coaches pretty much do everything on their own. So right now that's what I'm doing. They actually got a team. I got 2 Zoom calls going on once because they're about to start a team workout on Zoom. So I'm not doing that team running today. But pretty much I wanted to make sure we got this good work in and had a great meeting, man.
No, that's good stuff. And then last but not least, Coach Randy Brown, the man, the myth, the legend. Coach, can you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick?
What's up there? Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, sir.
Former, high school coach, former 20-year college coach. I'm in the space of coaching coaches now. I've been doing it for 13 years. helped an awful lot of young coaches get better at their craft and move into college basketball and some into the NBA. And so I try to stay relevant. I try to stay up with what's going on out there in the basketball world. And you're certainly one I've covered or followed for a long time, and always been really interested in your work. So thanks for inviting me. I'm anxious to see what you got.
Really appreciate that. So like you, Trey, I have 2 videos going right now. I got a Instagram live up here right now as well. I'm trying to help people out who weren't able to make it in or get the invite. So what I'm going to do right now, and if you guys could just go ahead and mute yourself so there's no background noise. When people come in, I'll just go ahead and let them in. I'm also going to record this, so this way if anybody wants to watch it later, they can. So just to give you a quick heads up for what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over a way that I try to approach player development. So everybody just go ahead. You guys can see this, correct? Go ahead and say, yeah. All right, cool. Got you. All right. So this is how I use a SWOT analysis to approach player development. All right. So first of all, and anybody who's ever been, around me before, you all may have heard me say things like this before, but this is pretty much what I believe in. I aim for swishes at all things that I do. I try to tell, my athletes and student athletes, especially, when you're in class, you don't turn a paper in to get a C, right? So that'd be, to me, like hitting the rim. So whenever you're going through whatever it is if it's a ball handling workout or shots, or if you're in class, aim for swishes, aim for an A, and then be uncommon. And for those individuals who haven't heard this story before, the whole uncommon thing has actually been in my life for the majority of my life. It's a lot of people ask me, does this have something to do with Tony Dungy? And it doesn't. Tony Dungy, is a great man. I've read his book, but this actually has to do something with my father. My father, when I was growing up, when he would see, people do something in a dumb way, he would get mad and he would say, "Oh, you common," and then insert your favorite expletive. So I never wanted to be common growing up. So that's where the whole uncommon movement came from. So going over this stuff, what is SWOT? So it's originally intended for business use. The SWOT analysis has been altered to cater to you as an athlete or a coach, and to ensure that you're working efficiently and effectively towards attaining your goals, right? So what does SWOT stand for? That's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. And then I have 2 T's in this SWOT analysis. One is threats on the court, and one is threats in life. So your strengths are what you're good at. All right. What do you believe that you have that helps your team or keeps you on the court? So this is pretty much how you would explain this to your athletes. And the weaknesses are, what are you not very good at? This is something that you feel completely out of place on the court. So for example, a traditional point guard playing in the post or vice versa. And then your opportunities are new skills that you can add to your game, right? So maybe for a big, maybe this time he's able to reverse pivot and take it to the rack. Or maybe, it's a point guard being able to shoot a little bit better. And then your threats on the court are, what are the things that keep them off the court? A lot of players struggle with this, especially in a team setting where they sit on the bench and they wonder why they're not in the game, right? So being able to give this to your athletes ahead of time and, pretty much letting them know, this is what your threat is. This is why you're not in the game more often. And then the threats in life are what can, keep them off of the court, off of the team. What's your GPA like? I know as coaches, that's number one for us. We always want to know, what's the GPA like? Or maybe it's, they have some things going on, outside of school, off the court that are just questionable decisions. Again, these are the threats, in life and off the court. So taking a step back here, I want to talk about skill acquisition, right? So we talk about the SWOT analysis, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown with the different questions that you're going to ask your athletes. But skill acquisition, I think, is a misunderstood topic. So whenever you're trying to teach a new skill, you should show it first. All right. The most basic of everything, you need to show them how to properly do it. Okay. And then you're going to teach them the skill. So most skills have sub-skills or prerequisites that are involved. So for example, if you're shooting, you should have your hips squared to the basket. Now, I know some people teach this a little differently. A friend of mine here in Charlotte, he teaches, the angled feet are at a 45 degree, and this lines up the elbow. Personally, if somebody wants to shoot like that, I'm not going to fix it and tell them or change it and tell them that it's wrong. I want them to shoot with what's most comfortable. So if it's at a 45, then at a 45. If it's 10 toes to the rim like myself, then it's 10 toes to the rim, right? But you have to have those sub-skills that go into it. So, for example, an in and out, and I'm going to show you a picture here in a little bit. For an in and out, your footwork should be stepping across the line. All right, and you should be swiping. If you don't teach them stepping across the line and swiping, then you're not teaching the full skill. Walk through it, okay, while you're going through the skill. So walk through it. So before actually attempting the skill at game speed, allow your athletes to go through things slowly. Okay, if you can't do it slow, you're not going to do it fast. And then you have to rep it, right? And you want to rep it until you can't get it wrong. A lot of people, they put those numbers out there and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to swish 3. Okay. Or excuse me, I'm going to make 3. Well, you could make 3. That's fine. Some can rattle in and you just get lucky. So set yourself at a higher bar. Say things like swish 3, right? Or swish 5, swish 10. So if you've ever worked out with me before, you kind of know this is how I do things. And just specifically on shooting, if you want to make really good shooters, make them shoot shots off the glass, because this is a very challenging task. Make them shoot shots off the glass. After you rep it, you're going to put in dummy defense. All right, here you'll rep the skill one-on-one scenarios, starting off, with someone shadowing and progressing into active participation. After you perfect the skill, you're going to work towards the counter skill. So for example, if you have an in and out with a crossover, what's the counter for that, right? So I got an in and out, and now the counter is the crossover, right? Or if I chop going left, my counter is going to be wrap going back right. So if they step there, what's my counter? Always teach the athlete, if this is the move, give them a counter, right? And then after dummy defense, you're going into game simulated. So here you're going to start going 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. And then after all of those steps, now you can start putting it in live. Going through this skill acquisition template is going to allow your athletes to build confidence, because they are trying a new skill. They're trying something for the first time, and it's going to give them trouble. So make sure that you go through this and you build that confidence first. So how are you going to get started with the SWOT analysis? All right, so the head coach, the student athlete, the parents, the skills trainers, they're big today. Everybody seems to have a trainer, and I'm guilty of it too, right? Like I have athletes that I train on the side. Try to get everybody involved. I know not all the time that everybody's on the same page, even with like AAU coaches, but try to get everybody involved, because remember, the number one person in this whole process is the athlete, right? So try to get everybody involved, the head coach, student athlete, parent, maybe even some of the assistant coaches, skills trainers, the strength coaches. Try to get everybody on the same page, because if you could do that, now the athlete's going to benefit more. So some of the questions you're going to ask them, right? So the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, right? You're going to ask them to fill this out. What are you good at? Ask them what they're good at. What they think they're good at might be something completely different than what you think, right? So this gives us a way to get on the same page. And then the same thing, have them actually break down and analyze their game. What are their weaknesses? What do they think their opportunities are, right? So I hear some people say to me, I was talking to Brett Barron last week about player development, and I said that it doesn't matter to me if you're 6'9" or if you're 5'9", you're going to learn to be a basketball player. And I know that puts a lot of coaches off, and they say, well, I don't really have time for that. And there is some truth to that. If he's a 6'9" junior in college and he's never worked on shooting, outside of the elbow, I can understand where you're coming from with that. But if you're a freshman, sophomore, fifth grader, and you're just really tall for your age, there's no reason why you should not be working on the entire game. There's no reason for early specialization. And for all those people who say, man, I wish I had a Kevin Durant, man, I wish I had a Dirk Nowitzki, or just anybody who was 6'5" and above who could shoot a three, you're probably part of the reason why you don't have one. As high school coaches, a lot of people can't recruit, but you can develop your athletes. So don't be afraid, especially in today's game. Positionless basketball is a big deal. And then the same thing for the head coach. Your wording's just a little bit different. Now it says, what are they good at? What are they not very good at? What skills can they add, right? So this is more geared towards yourself. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to send this whole document out to you all, so this way you have it. All right, so your off-season improvement plan, all right, the goal is to improve upon 1 to 3 aspects of your game during the off-season. You cannot tell your athletes, go become a better basketball player. It has to be specific. So 1 to 3, all right? And I always tell my athletes, because a lot of them, as you all know, those 6'2" kids in the lower schools who, 6'2" is a big man, tell them to shine in their role while grinding for the role that they want. All right, shine in your role while grinding for the role that you want. All right, so if he's a 6'4" kid who's playing the big spot and they want to step out to the 3-point line and beat people off the bounce, that's fine. But just tell them you need to work for that during your own time. But right now, I need you to shine in this role that I have for you, right? So if you're giving them that leeway to, go off on your own and try to become better. And I know a lot of coaches don't like things like fadeaways. There's athletes who can shoot fadeaways and make them consistently, and their coaches will not allow them to do it, right? But the thing is, if an athlete wants to do that and you won't let them, but you expect them to do everything that you want them to do, think about it from their perspective. That's not a fair trade-off, right? So every now and then, allow them to shoot those fadeaways, allow them to go one-on-one with somebody, and you're going to get more out of them, right? But again, we're improving on 1 to 3 aspects of the game, okay? And then we need to track the training, all right? Track the shots made, track the weight lifted, the dribbles in a certain time frame. If you're going to go through and train these things, you have to track them, or you're never really going to have concrete evidence that you're improving. And you might not know if you're actually going backwards, right? Like you might come in and say, all right, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z done today, and then it doesn't help you at all. You don't want that. You want to track this and make sure that you're improving at all points in time. All right. So there are levels to this. And I know we have coaches from all different levels right now in this meeting. So I wanted to go through all of these. And I know some of us have kids as well. So the introductory level, that is ages 3 to 9, they should be participating 1 to 2 times per week. All right. And you need to make it fun and no 5-on-5. It's not necessary. The U.S. has done a great job with this. They've actually come out and given you guidelines for what size basketball to use now and what level the height of the hoop should be. Make sure that you do these things because they are important for the development of the athlete. Soccer does this the best. They shrink the field. They make the net smaller. They make the ball smaller. It makes it easier for the athletes to progress, but make sure that you're not forcing it upon them, right? 1 to 2 times per week. Make it fun. They'll enjoy it. The foundational level is ages 8 to 13. They're going to participate no more than 5 days per week. 70% of the time is dedicated to skill development. 30% of the time is dedicated to gameplay. So 5v5 should be saved until the later stages of the foundational level. All right, so this is the advanced skill level or ages 11 to 13. So some kids might be age 8, but they might be playing on a skill level of 13. So if that's the case, allow those kids to play up, right? Advanced is 12 to 17, 5 days per week with 1 active rest day and 1 total rest day. So basically this is Monday through Friday. On Saturday, maybe they're getting shots up, and then on Sunday they're resting. 60% of the time is dedicated to skill development, and 40% of the time is dedicated to gameplay, right? Later stages of this level is going to be 50-50 split, but really you need to work on that skill development. And remember, when it says gameplay, that could be 5-on-5, but when you're doing your skill development, if you're progressing through this the way you should be, then you're getting some 3-on-3 gameplay in there as well. Lastly, we have our performance level, 15 to 18 plus. Right? So these are your freshmen all the way up through your professional athletes. And please understand that we use this SWOT analysis for our elementary school kids and for the professional athletes that we train. So this is 5 days a week with 1 active rest day and 1 total rest day. 25% of the time is dedicated to skill development. 75% of the time is dedicated to gameplay. So this percentage also includes team-oriented practices and other competition-specific preparation. So you cannot burn these athletes out. When it is regular season, you need to dial it back with the skill development. I had an athlete 2 years ago break his foot in a game just by going up for a rebound because he was training too much. We talked to him afterwards, we said to him, how come this happened to you? Like, it didn't seem like a high impact injury or anything. He literally went up for the rebound, came down, turned and went to run away. Here, he had been going to another practice every single day after he left our practice. So these athletes have to take care of their body. You need to push that onto them. All right, so have a daily schedule for them. You all are going to receive this as well. This is the same schedule that we used when I was at IMG Academy. All right, and you can notice it's not a coincidence that IMG produces high-level athletes. And there's a big misconception behind it too. A lot of people think, oh, well, you're going to IMG, then you're an ESPN top 100. That's not the case. You have payers and you have players. Anybody who's worked at the collegiate or private school level, you understand this. But understand that the reason why IMG is so successful is because of this. Their entire day is filled. And you can notice in here from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, they have lunch, rest, and recovery. So their entire day is filled. If you do this with your athletes, you're automatically setting them up for success. And like I said, you all are going to get this schedule. So again, we have phases. You're going to have to trust this process and get your athletes to believe in it. All right. So phase 1 is the basic preparation, weeks 1 to 3. You're going to learn the skills, the nuances and micro skills that go into each skill. If you look at this picture, you can see I'm teaching this athlete that when you do an in and out, you have to step across. Because remember, an in and out sells a high crossover. So if you don't sell that same footwork, you're just moving a basketball on the same plane. So the defense is not going to react to that. They're not going to drop their foot and open up their hips. So teach them those micro skills. This is what's going to make them fully understand the skill. And you're going to follow a 2-day split. So a sample of this is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to work on threat number 1. And Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you're going to work on threat number 2. And then on Sunday, you're going to rest. Phase 2 is advanced development. So weeks 4 and 5, you're going to start to implement the skills into small-sided games. 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. And also, don't forget, just because you're doing skill development doesn't mean that you can't work on game scenarios. You can go from a 2-on-2 situation where it's every time you pass to the wing, you have to slice cut. Every time before you get started on this 2v2, you can come set a Duke screen. You can have it to where it's 2v2 and one of the guys are going to run, or girls are going to run an Iverson cut, and then it starts from there. You can run 2v2 as the coach. We're going to run it out of horns, and we're going to play it from there. So don't forget to use game scenarios. But again, in phase 2, it's advanced development. You're going to follow 2-by-2 split. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're working on threat number 1, and you're going to put it into a small-sided game. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you're working on threat number 2, and you're going to put it into a small-sided game. Phase 3, this is probably the most important. And this is, again, the part where I was telling you all you have to track your progress. Phase 3 is reevaluation. Your threats should no longer feel like threats anymore. They should, at the worst, feel like a weakness. You're going to search for 2 new threats to conquer after this. You're going to follow a 2-by-2 split. Okay, again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, threat number 1 and live gameplay with that threat being put in there. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you're going to go threat number 2 and then live gameplay. Now, notice that this is broken in between morning and evening. One of the things that made Kobe Bryant so successful was that he put in the extra time and he woke up early so people couldn't keep up. And just to give you a small example of how this is working for me right now, I just entered into a challenge with my team from last year, Princess Anne. They're doing a 30-mile challenge for the month of May. So they have 30 days to run 30 miles. I joined in on day 8 just because I didn't hear about it. I'm already in 4th place just because I'm running in the morning and the evening. So just doing things like that, like tomorrow I'm going to take over 1st place, and that's with an 8-day disadvantage. So get your athletes to buy into that, but make sure that they're getting their rest, they're rehydrating, and they're refueling during that downtime. All right, so a skill development template. I wanted to give you a template, but it's only for an hour, right? So I understand that not everybody has all the time in the world. So I wanted to make it an hour. You can extend this. So basically, I would just double everything. Right? So the first 5 minutes, they have to warm up. And just in case anybody has a problem with warming up, just so you know, it's been scientifically proven, if you don't warm up, you are not going to perform at the highest level. So your body is going to warm up whether you want to do it or not. So you might as well just take the time, warm up, and then be able to perform at a higher level. All right. The second part of it is your on-court threat. Then spend 15 minutes working on your strengths, right? Like we want to make sure our strengths stay a strength, all right? And then the last 10 minutes, balance shooting or free throws, and then make sure you cool down afterwards. For phase 2 in the morning, we're going to warm up, have our on-court threat. We're going to attack that, strengths, balance shooting, and free throws afterwards. And then in the evening, we have our warm-up, strengths, on-court threat, and then small-sided games and live play, right? So here's the part that I really wanted to open it up to everybody, and you all can go ahead and, unmute yourself now. I'm going to call on people, so this way any questions that you have, I can go ahead and answer for you. All right, Trey, what you got for me?
So I think the biggest thing I'm kind of curious about, like you said, you don't have all the time in the world. Junior college is a little different, especially when you don't have that on-campus factor to benefit. So how do you balance out, how would you balance out, your team's individual skill development throughout the day or throughout the week necessarily, so you can make sure you touch everybody as well as kind of tied into team development at the same time. So how would you kind of balance that out?
For sure. So especially from a coaching staff standpoint, I've seen teams do this differently. I think the best way to do it is to assign coaches as mentors, right, for each athlete. Obviously, this is going to be overseen from the head coach. So the head coach is going to tell you, this is what I think their weakness is. This is what I think their threat is, right? Make sure you focus on this. But you know what, Trey, you have Randy, Kelvin, John, and Joe, right? And then whoever else is on staff, give them 4 other people. So this way, you're not overloading your coaches, right? And, at the same time, I think that if you can give that, that template to the athletes and let them know, like, hey, man, I'm not always going to be there with you, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still on them. They still have to, put it on themselves to get better. But if you can have, those coaches, take 4 athletes and break it down that way and have the head coach kind of overlooking the whole thing, I really think that's going to help you be most efficient. Does anybody else have any other questions about this? All right, so what I wanted you guys to do, I really wanted to make sure that everybody was able to, stay in touch with each other. I know we all introduced ourselves at the very beginning. If you could, if you want to stay in touch with people, go ahead and reach out to me, and I will give you guys their email address, or their Instagram. I can make sure that everybody, can get that if you want to. Everybody knows my email address, coachjustinbrand@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, it's @_CoachJB. If you want to stay in touch with people, just let me know. Just say, hey, coach, I would love to, reach out to whoever, and I'll just send that contact information over to them. All right. And if anybody, wants me to touch on a different topic next week, by all means, tell me what that topic is, and I'll make sure to take care of it. All right.
Hey, JB.
Yeah, what's up, Joe?
Not much. Can I give Coach Randy Brown a plug here?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's got a great video on 3-on-3 with different small side games on CoachTube. I have it. He was very kind to give me a lot of notes on it as well. That has helped my team tremendously. You can work on screens and different things, post-ups. It opened my mind to a lot of things, and the way you can also attack, and the way he does it progressively, it's a great tool.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Randy's a good guy, and don't sell yourself short either, Joe. If anybody else on this list, if you're a basketball junkie, you might not have anything on Joe Rodriguez. This man has got everything that you could ever ask for. So I'm telling you,
Where's the video available,
guys? Hey, Coach Brown, would you mind telling the rest of the group pretty much just what you do? Just maybe go into a little bit more detail, because I really feel like you do a great job of helping coaches out as well.
Well, when I ended up a long career of college coaching, I made it a point to give back to this profession. I know we say that a lot, and I'm one who's kept everything for 35 years, and I mean everything. And so I really, really extend myself to everybody that's out there, and I have, if I don't have it, it might not exist. So I have a kind of an endless supply of resources from A to Z, and I would gladly give as much to anybody that they possibly wanted. I think this game is too important not to do that, and to give back is very special to me. I'm still involved in some on-court stuff. I still love teaching the game. I'm primarily, I've got about 30 coaches who are in my mentoring program right now who work with me. Most of them are career-oriented coaches that are looking to get into the college game, entry-level position. But along the way, we certainly work on the game itself and teaching the game. And so on a days, I think this is let's see, I've got a program here in about an hour and a half. So I think this is 5 for me, 5 Zooms for me today. So I'm always in front of coaches. It's awesome. I love it. You can't ask enough questions. And I think one thing I always challenge coaches with to think about is I wrote an article, and not that the article's great, but I love the title of the article, Coach the Game Through the Player's Eyes. We so much of the time, we know the game, we live for the game, we're passionate for the game, But if our coaching represents what we know and what we understand about the game, we're going to miss about 80% of these kids opportunities to help them understand the game. So really try to switch spots with them and try to teach the game based on how they see it, what they do know and what they don't know when they don't know a lot. And along with that, stop asking yes and no questions.
That's a big one.
The kid that can hide the best is the kid that will nod his head, and you think he's one of your best IQ kids, and he's not. He's one of your worst. He just knows when to nod, and have them explain to you as if they're the coach and you're the player. Those types of things are invaluable. The drills are great and all that, but boy, the inner workings of the game are crucial. Coach it through the player's eyes. I think it'll really, really help your players' understanding of the game.
That's a big one, Coach, and I couldn't agree with you more. Every year I run a practice where I'll come in and I'll look at the athletes and I'll just say, hey, what are we doing today? And I just put that onus back on them, and it always flips the script on them, and it's a very good litmus test for how great of a job you've been doing as a coach, to see what exactly they're going to come up with. Hey, I'm not trying to cut anybody short. If you guys want to go ahead and just throw your email address or your social media tag in the chat, everybody can go ahead and see that. We got about 2 minutes left before we're going to jump off of here. And please believe Coach Sarge when he says that he's got some hoopers down there if anybody needs anybody. Sarge is the man. And, like I said, please reach out to all these other people, build that network. I mean, you guys, I've been working with you all for years. And, Ian, I'm glad to have you along with us. And I'm really hoping that, we can do this on a regular basis. And, maybe I could be the one that's sitting back next time and just listening to somebody else share their knowledge.
Sure, man. Appreciate that, Justin. Like your schedule, that's something that we do every single day. So it's very, similar to, the collegiate level. So I appreciate that. It was good stuff, man. I got a lot of notes I could send to Coach D.
That's what's up, man. You got to tell him I said, hey. All right, fellas. We're going to log off here. Again, reach out to me. Please let me know what you thought about this presentation. Let me know what I can do better. You're not going to hurt my feelings. All right, so please let me know what you would like to see done differently next time. I'll catch up with you guys.
Awesome job, JB. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, JB.
Yep.
Nice to meet you guys, coaches.
You bet. You guys too. Thank you.